Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, hi. Agro Nigeria. How are you? Morning.
Very well, thank you.
All right. What about Mr. Shet is on this call, I believe.
What about what?
Mr. Ishet from the Nation newspaper. He's the one coordinating, from what I understand. He's the one coordinating the colleagues. So we'll hold out and expect that people will. In other words, I'm here. Once we're ready, please let me know. The senior special advisor to the president on livestock development is supposed to be joining me.
Here already.
Is he already? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
The Right Honorable, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Richard. How are you doing?
Very well. Thanks for making
Very well, good. No problem, my pleasure.
No, we pulled you out of a whole lot of stuff, but
no, my pleasure. I'm just trying to log on my system, but I'm logged in with Bolu's phone for the moment.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. We'll soon be up and running.
Network? Huh.
Eshet, where are your people? Time is of the essence. Okay, that's fine. But we're waiting for your colleagues. And just to be clear that this activity is being streamed. And so we would expect that all concerned are circumspect in that regard. Okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead, Ifechukwu.
okay, so I just wanted to formally welcome everybody on the call, so we know those that we have on the call and those that are yet to join us. Okay, so I'm sure we have Barrister Richard Mark-Umbaram, that's DG CEO Feed Nigerian Summit on the call. And we also have CEO and then founder of Giant, Mrs. Indosit Imbaram on the call. We have events coordinators, that's for the AAD Africa 2025. We also have folks from Agro Nigeria on the call.
Ifechukwu, just to not to cut you short, but please, the senior special advisor to the president on livestock development is on this call, Honorable Idris Ajimobi. So you will do well to recognize him.
Good morning, sir. Okay, so we have the senior special advisor to Minister of Livestock on the call, Honorable Idris Ajimobi. You're welcome, sir. Good morning.
All right. Thank you very much, Ifechukwu. Our colleagues from the media, thank you very much for making time out to be on this call. It's considered to be very, very important that we have this engagement with you. Like was earlier stated, the senior special advisor to Mr. President on livestock development, Honorable Idris Ajimobi, is joining me to interact with you ahead of the upcoming agenda setting sessions of the Africa Agriculture Dialogue 2025. I will take the liberty just basically moderating this activity so that we can quickly get things sorted and move forward. Having said that, I would call on Honorable Ajimobi to say a few words in introduction. Honorable Ajimobi, please. Maybe just to introduce yourself. And,
hello.
Yeah, just introduce yourself and then we continue from there. Go ahead.
Hi,
please.
yes. Good morning to everyone. Once again, my name is Idris Ajimobi. I'm the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Livestock Development. And it's a pleasure to be here today and partake in this Africa Agriculture Dialogue, which I think it's a key discussion that is necessary to have. We need to overcome the barriers that are restricting the livestock sector from growing. And one of the key barriers is financial gaps that exist between the local farmers across. Lack of financing is a challenge that is experienced throughout the sector. So I feel this discussion and dialogue session is a fantastic opportunity for us to discuss our challenges and see what opportunities can be created from that. Thank you so much, and I wish us the best.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable. And I want to underscore that we have media colleagues from multiple media outlets, and we would want them to introduce themselves while we are just about to take off on this. Maybe we start with the coordinator himself, Mr. Eshet from the Nation newspaper. Mr. Eshet, please go ahead. Eshet, you're muted if that's anything to go by. Also, I think we have other colleagues here. I see Bennett Ogifo. Bennett, please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay. I'm Bennett Ogifo, this day newspaper.
Okay, Bennett, and while not wanting to put you on the spot, please, what's really going on with your other colleagues? Because I don't see, apart from Idris, I'm sorry, apart from Eshet, I don't see any other colleague on this call. So while we wait for them, and given the need to expedite time-wise, you have already been briefed with the press, materials for the press docket. So we will basically get down to it. The Africa Agriculture Dialogue 2025 is an event that takes place at the World Food Prize every year, and basically sets out to capture narratives and conversational issues that relate to Africa and project them on the world stage. The World Food Prize, of course, is the Nobel of Agriculture. It is a gathering of all stakeholders in the agricultural sector worldwide. In Des Moines, Iowa, the birthplace of Dr. Norman Borlaug, the father of modern agriculture, the Nobel laureate, whose fascination with the need to feed, the populations of the world, caused him to go into some profound research, biotechnological researches that helped basically draw folks out of poverty and hunger and malnutrition in India, in China, and in the Far East, over a period of his lifetime, he was dedicated to this and won the Nobel laureate on that score. He, in turn, now instituted the World Food Prize, and the meeting point for this is his hometown, Des Moines, Iowa, in the United States. It happens every year, like I said, and since 2023, we have had, 2022 to be precise, we have had the Africa Agriculture Dialogue as part of that process, every year. This year, the dialogue is fixed for the 22nd of October, and it is going to take place, like I said, in Des Moines, Iowa. But we have, for the first time, set out through the process of the mechanism of the African Development Bank support, and also the commitment and partnership of the Nigerian government, set out for the first time on the African continent the agenda setting sessions, for the Africa Agriculture Dialogue at the World Food Prize. That session, Nigeria was picked to host it, basically because of the profound steps from a standpoint of policy that the present administration has undertaken. There are three of those steps that stand out, remarkably. One is the creation of a state of emergency in the agricultural sector of the Nigerian economy. It is unprecedented. It's never happened. And this president, in the person of His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, took that bold step to declare a state of emergency in the sector, thereby bringing agricultural issues, food security, food and nutrition security to the front burner of Nigeria's political, equation. That, if you ask me, is one of the cardinal issues that, Sorry, can you be muted? Okay, good. That's one of the cardinal issues that yeah, okay. Right. Rega, you want to say something? All right. So we have that as a critical point. The second one is the creation of the Livestock Development Ministry, which Honorable Ajimobi had earlier hinted upon. For years on end, Nigeria has been saddled with the realities of this intractable situation where livestock, a very profound value additional sector, had been more or less a pain in the neck for this country, not only from a food security standpoint, but also from a core security, social security standpoint, wherein we've had farmer header crisis, destabilizing communities, causing mayhem in our rural areas, and really basically just a nuisance, if you want to say, to the Nigerian state. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, His Excellency, also set out to address this head-on by creating this new ministry. He saddled in that regard, Idi Mukhtar Meha, a seasoned practitioner in the space, with the responsibility of steering the affairs of that ministry. And Honorable Ajimobi will bear testament to this subsequently as we progress. That ecosystem, that entire sector of livestock is beginning to receive the kind of attention that is in itself unprecedented, and the solutions that are being put forward are such that we are looking at a situation where will be able to grow that sector from a $32 billion GDP contribution reality to $74 billion US dollars in over 10 years. The next one, which is to my mind very related to the theme of the AAD this year, is the recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture. We all know that the Bank of Agriculture is in itself supposed to be the main banker for the agricultural sector of the Nigerian economy. All of the players, the stakeholders in the agricultural sector should be able to benefit from the activities of the Bank of Agriculture, whether it is around credit provision at single-digit interest rates, or the management of the financial ecosystem in such a way as to ensure that the stakeholders within the sector have a banker to look up to. In the mold of what we have with Rabobank, this had not been the case. The bank had been full of toxic, assets, non-functioning or non-performing loans of over 97%, profoundly debilitating assets. So that move by the federal government to recapitalize it to the tune of $1 billion US dollars, just about 1.5 trillion naira, has really woken up, the sector profoundly. And remember that banking and financial service rendition is hinged largely on perception. And that move alone has brought positive perception, into the agricultural ecosystem. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of the, my role play as embed advisor on agriculture to the African Development Bank, to say that the bank itself, the African Development Bank itself, views this as a very positive move because it helps, reposition the Bank of Agriculture in the right light and cast it, with the kind of, markers that financial service providers, interested, entities in terms of development financing, institutions, multilateral finance entities, whether it is the World Bank, whether it is the International Fund for Agricultural Development, German GTZ, the whole 9 yards. These entities would very readily relate with this policy movements in the positive. Because of this, we have now seen a movement, a recognition, of Mr. President's leadership in terms of policy, layout and pursuits in the agricultural sector, which has now prompted the global, entities, particularly the World Food Prize Foundation and the Africa Agriculture Dialogue Governing Council, to zoom in on Nigeria as the best place to be when we're to kickstart, the agenda setting sessions for the Africa Agriculture Dialogue at the World Food Prize. I have said a lot already, but I need to now zero down to the event itself. This event, like I said, has been taken on by Mr. President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. He has graciously, provided the banquet hall of the presidential villa to host this over the next 2 days, from the 7th and the 8th of October. That is a prelude. So Mr. President is basically taking on a leadership role on the continent, in which he is basically working to aggregate the voices of the sectoral players in Africa in a way that positions Africa's views on the global stage of agriculture at the World Food Prize from the prism of Africa, an African prism to the global conversation, so that we are not talked down on. We are going to the World Food Prize led by a country and a government that is in itself representative of the new dawn in the agricultural ecosystem of Africa. And the conversations that would be canvassed at the Africa Agriculture Dialogue in the World Food Prize process would then be reflective of what the needs and aspirations of Africa or African stakeholders is as far as the sector of agriculture and food security is concerned. We have also, a lot of stakeholders who are partnering with us, who are supporting this process. Of course, the African Development Bank group is in there. We have IFA International, Solidaridad, the National Agriculture Insurance Corporation, NAIC, the National Agricultural Land Development Agency, NALDA, and of course the ministries of livestock development and agriculture and food security sitting all in that matrix. Primal of all is the Office of His Excellency the President himself working with us on this. So the agenda setting sessions are prepped, ready to go. The program of events, the agenda, the outlay, all of that has also been arrived at. We are ready to roll. I will wait for questions from you in order to guide, our subsequent conversation on this. But thank you so much for your attention. Honorable Ajimobi, do you want to come in at this juncture?
No, not at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much. Colleagues from the media, please, you have your opportunity to respond. Thank you.
Okay, once more, I'm Bennett Ogifo of This Day. Maybe you should tell us some of the expected outcomes of the dialogue. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Fantastic question. Can we have other Q-ins, or is that the only one we have? Anyone else? Any other? Okay, I see a shirt has.
Good morning. Can we just unmute ourselves and speak, or we have to queue or something?
No,
or do I have to raise up my hand?
Yes, if you indicate by raise of your hand.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'll just do that now.
But Josephine, please just introduce yourself and go ahead with your question. Not to worry. You're recognized.
Okay, I'm sorry. Good morning. I joined late. I really didn't hear most of the things you said. I was in another meeting. I had to finish one meeting and then also join this. My name is Josephine Ukoje. I write for Business Day. There've been a lot of talk, a lot of events and all of that. I don't know, how do we start seeing a post-event impact? Where we start seeing that all these talks were transiting from talk to action.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw more light on this.
Okay, that's fine. Ifechukwu, could you please read out the question from Eshet in the chat room? I think he's having problems with his connection.
Okay, sir. So he said, the first question is, how would you describe the current state of agriculture in Nigeria, particularly in terms of productivity, food security, and global competitiveness? That's the first question. So the second one, he said, where does Nigeria stand within Africa's agricultural landscape, and what specific areas is the country leading or lagging behind? Then his third question is saying, what level of investment and infrastructural development does Nigeria need to fully unlock its agricultural potential and reduce post-harvest losses? The next question, what opportunities could Nigeria derive from active participation in continental agricultural dialogue and cooperation frameworks?
Sorry, I lost you, Ifechukwu. Can you? Is it just me?
Oh, okay. Let me go again.
Yeah, I got what level of investment does Nigeria need? Go on. I lost you there.
Okay, so that's the third question. Okay, so he said, what level of investment and infrastructural development does Nigeria need to fully unlock its agricultural potential and reduce post-harvest losses? So the fourth question is saying, what opportunities could Nigeria derive from active participation in continental agricultural dialogue and cooperation frameworks? Another question, what policy reforms or strategic interventions would you recommend to strengthen Nigeria's position as a regional agricultural powerhouse? And the last question, so he has 6 questions rolled out. That's the last one. Looking ahead, what does the future portend for Nigeria's agricultural development? And what must be done now to ensure the sector becomes a true engine for economic growth and food security?
All right.
So
I mean, that's a truckload of questions there, but we'll go at it. So our colleague from this day had asked what the expected outcomes are. So, and it's actually going to dovetail into some of the questions that Ishet posed. If you see the way the event, the agenda setting sessions are couched, you would realize that we are priming, the agricultural sector, not just of Nigeria, but that of Africa, to basically connect with the globe, the global play and the global conversation in a way that depicts and captures Africa's, interests and positions them for value. When we say that we want to look at the theme of the activity, we're looking at financing and looking at how to bring about the unlocking of, such finance for agricultural transformation on the continent. It is really at the back of the African Development Bank Group's concerns for Africa as a whole. How do we make sure that money, in the real sense of it, gets into the hands of the stakeholders, the players in the sector, in such a way as to help, ignite productivity and ensure that agriculture itself is a productive business. So we transition from mere agriculture, to agribusiness in such a way as to have positive outcomes, both for the practitioners and also for the citizenry and of course the countries of the continent. When you look at it from that prism, you will then understand what we seek to achieve. We seek to ensure that the agricultural sector of the African continent is seen from the light of an opportunity sector and not a problem sector. Right now, the perception of agriculture from a financing, standpoint is that of a profoundly risk, laden sector, which is in itself not true, if you ask me. So it will be an opportunity for us to utilize this session to throw light on the viability of the sector and look at critical policy decisions that have taken place within the space that necessarily indicate that government, as well as the private sector, is waking up, and positioning itself to ensure that this growth, this prosperity takes place. No better sense of this can you get than in the three policy, interventions that I just mentioned in the course of my presentation. The one is the declaration of a state of emergency in the agricultural sector. I want to point to a critical aspect, that what that decision helped us to achieve. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of a program that I was directly involved in. The National Agriculture Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket, the NAGS-AP program, $134 million commitment by the African Development Bank through a policy-based operation, to support the Nigerian government in terms of the production, the expeditious production of staple foods during, the post-COVID realities that we had in the country. We are targeted 6 value chains: wheat, maize, rice, soy, sorghum, and cassava, 6 of them. I want to underscore that the main value chain being, or one of the critical value chains being wheat, is a value chain in which we had a serious challenge year on year in the past, with causing us profound resources in terms of the balance of trade, because we were importing the wheat into the country to produce flour for baking and all whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, it was on account of the emergency situation declaration by His Excellency the President that the President, through his exercise of emergency powers, authorized the importation of, the Bolog 100 heat-tolerant variety of wheat seeds, which has transformed the Nigerian, wheat value chain and the entire Nigerian wheat ecosystem. Nigeria is now producing, Nigeria is now producing its wheat in country by force of, the presidential decision to deploy the emergency power to authorize the importation of the wheat of the Bolog 100, which in themselves are like I said, heat-tolerant varieties. So across 15 northern states, we grew wheat in Nigeria. Farmers received inputs, seeds, fertilizers, and agrochemicals across all 15 states of the country, and the wheat production in Nigeria astronomically has blown up. I'll take Jigawa State for one. We did 40,000 hectares of production of wheat there, and we crunched the numbers as, a bank. We realized that $160 million was the value that came to the agricultural sector of Jigawa State alone, on account of the NAGS-AP program on wheat. And I want you to please allow this to sink in. We did 15 states. We did 6 commodities with $134 million. But just one state out of the whole, on just one commodity, wheat, We crunched $160 million worth of value coming out of Jigawa State alone. Money in the pockets of farmers, money in the IGR of the state, and of course of the Federation. Nigeria today is a major force in wheat production on the African continent. So you see that instance, and then take it across board. And remember, gentlemen and ladies, that the president met an economy that had been basically, it was not comatose. It was actually in the mortuary. I can tell you that for free. We are in the sector, we understand the space, and we have a front row seat in terms of policy implementation. The present administration came in at a time when, through the Anchor Borrowers Program, look at the Bank of Agriculture's books, you will see that the entirety of the agricultural lending system and portfolio had completely been decimated. Loans that had been given out had been misused. People were buying houses with them and all whatnot. In the real sense, the sector had nothing going for it. Thanks to the intervention of the present administration, thanks to the work, of the ministers, particularly the Agriculture and Food Security Ministry, we were able to see a profound shift, in terms of support for farmers. From the bank standpoint, I know that the bank also crowded in the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, to support the country with $110 million additional funding, targeted initially at the rice crop, but then it has been extended and expanded to cover other crops like cassava and the rest of them. This is the kind of qualitative, transformative action on the part of government that I can bear witness of. You want to talk about the LPRESS program, which is supported by the World Bank in the livestock space. These are all activities that are impacting on the Nigerian stakeholders in the sector. But I am not here going to sit and say to you that it's been all rosy. What I can tell you is that with the kind of policy measures being undertaken, look at the leadership of the Bank of Agriculture right now. Ayo Shotiri is the new managing director. Those of you who know Ayo Shotiri would know that he is a square peg in a square hole. You want to go down to Nalda and look at what's happening with Olusegun, Adebayo, Cornelius Adebayo, Olusegun Adebayo Jr. I mean, the kind of ideas that you hear being churned out from that agency will make you sit up. In the sense that my conversations with the NALDA ES recently really threw me off balance. Do you know that NALDA has come up with a program that basically pulls out every single, or gives opportunity to every single Nigerian who has an earth-moving equipment to be able to onboard it into a value, ecosystem where they would receive benefit for the utilization of their equipment? Think about it. So you don't even need to sit out and be looking for Julius Berger or CC to talk about how you can make, proper use of your agricultural or your earth-moving equipment. The agency is now providing you an opportunity to onboard your equipment wherever it is in across the country, for purposes of deployment for value, in order to benefit you, the Nigerian farmer, and also, you know, the Nigerian state. These are folks that are thinking outside the box, and to a large extent, even without the box in sight. You want to look at the Livestock Development Ministry and the choice of the minister. Honorable Ajimobi is here, he can bear me out. I work closely with the gentleman. He is profoundly passionate, extremely knowledgeable, hands-on, ready to roll. He understands the sector back to back and is already implementing a transformational, you know, policy through the National Livestock Growth Acceleration Strategy, the NL Gas program. I tell you that stuff is going down, activities are in place, the sector is being repositioned, much of it is being done quietly. That's one of the reasons why, you know, we are even advocating that you, our colleagues in the media space, should take it upon yourselves to begin to probe and report on, you know, the transformations that are going on in the sector. It is systematic, it is progressive, and the end in sight is very clear. Having said that, let me come back to Josephine's question. We do expect that financing to the agricultural sector will profoundly improve after, you know, this year's event. I say that because the way we have primed, you know, the activities of the Africa Agriculture Dialogue, and of course, working through the agenda setting sessions, is to ensure that we are able to piece together all of the fabrics of, you know, the agricultural ecosystem, both of Nigeria and of the continent of Africa, and put it forward to the globe. On the world stage, we would be saying Africa is ready to do business. We would be handing out the businesses and the entities and the opportunities from our own prism. We have a platform and we are taking it, you know, and weaponizing it for our own purposes, for our own value as a continent, and particularly now as a nation, Nigeria. What does that mean for us? It means that, you know, high profile financing, you know, entities and opportunities that are there on the globe would get to hear about the opportunities in Africa, in Nigeria, you know, from us Africans and us Nigerians. We would be able to engage with these entities and strike the deals. We hear the Americans. They are in the mood for deal making. We will be going to the World Food Prize, ready to engage the American governments. I mean, meetings have been set up, you know, with the Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of State of the US, critical, you know, business entities in American business community, you know, those in the Corporate Council on Africa. All of those folks are going to be engaging at that topmost level and hearing us out on what, you know, the opportunities are in the sector and how best they can come in, not from a top-down standpoint, but from a symbiotic, you know, perspective. Partnership. You know, a deal presupposes that you have a quid pro quo. You give and you take. So we will be going there, going to the world stage, you know, with that in mind, and prepared with our own, you know, our own aspect of the deals that we want to look at. In saying that, of course, I want to also underscore that we have a broad-based, you know, entry into the agenda setting sessions. We actually have an intervention, you know, or an interest from the Chinese who are expanding, you know, their engagements with the African continent. I believe that Jemima is on this call. She's in charge of the program itself. She can give perspectives subsequently on, what entities are involved with us in this undertaking. But I think that's the CCFC, I think, of China, all right, who have basically set out to finance anything agro-industrialization oriented, particularly as it relates to, infrastructure provision in the rural areas and all that. They have set aside, resources to basically connect with the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program of the government, as well as any other activities, particularly the National Livestock Growth Acceleration strategy program of the government in the livestock space, to fund and support these development activities from a business prism in such a way as to ensure that these programs and these projects receive a real catalytic boost. Currently, the SAPZ program is confirmed for 7 states and the FCT for the first phase. But the second phase has 22 states in it. And the cost, architecture around it, from the commitments gotten from the African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and other partners, is about $2.3 billion. But the Chinese are coming with, a bottomless pit of resources. Let me put it that way, because they have said to us, put the funds, put the projects out, put the cost implication there, show us what our benefits are, and we put the money behind it. And I can tell you that with the kind of leadership we have in the agricultural ecosystem right now, and the movements that we're seeing, in terms of these young folks who are bright and shiny, the best that we have, whether it is NALDA, whether it is NAIC, whether it is NADF, whether it is NERSAL, BOI, or you just name it. We see that energy, we see that capability, and we see that these folks are the people that we can use to ring fence, agricultural development in Nigeria and ensure that we can take things to where we want them going forward. It may be looking like it's slow, but I can tell you that it is well positioned and ultimately will give us what we seek to achieve. I have said that in answering to your question, Josephine Okoje of Business Day. It is not going to be business as usual. This is the turning point, and you can imagine that the president, His Excellency the President himself, is taking this on by himself. That's why Honorable Ajimobi is here. He's taking this on by himself. He is leading the continent by himself. And that, I say, is a new, reality. I'm beginning to have challenges with my network, so I might just have to take off my video if you don't mind. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, it's been profoundly quiet. Okay. So having said that, Jojo, it is not business as usual. It cannot be. And you all know, those of us who are in this space and speaking to you, that we sure as certainly, I don't want to say sure as hell, but we most certainly know exactly what quality looks like when it comes to managing the affairs of this country. And I can tell you for free, we have quality now at the helm of the leadership of agriculture and also of the country. Eshet says, how would you describe the current state of agriculture in Nigeria? I am saying it again. I can continue to say it over and over. we now have the kind of, systemic, transformative, pillars and beacons that would necessarily, result in transformational productivity outcomes. We have a directive I hear has come from Mr. President that no monies can be spent in the agricultural sector outside of, the mechanisms of the Bank of Agriculture. Why has that directive been considered necessary? Over time, in the past, you would have seen a situation where most of the time resources are handed out, as subsidies, as loans, to farmers, and they don't return. The Bank of Agriculture has been charged with the responsibility of making sure that these resources are a revolving scheme. You have got to know, as you're receiving these resources, that it is meant to be utilized, and that you're supposed to ensure that it recreates itself and does not fizzle out. If you're, for instance, involved in the production of agricultural commodities, and you have taken a facility from the Bank of Agriculture, in most cases, you will not see the money. You will only get, the inputs given to you by, agro dealers. You would most likely be able to have insurance coverage, administered to you basically on your farm. You would have had extension service, provided you on your farm location without necessarily having to, undertake or to engage with the resources in physical terms. That is one of the ways of protecting, and ensuring that you can recycle the funds, and it is not a one-directional drain pipe. If you ask me, those kind of policy interventions or policy statements or policy commitments, we've really not seen them. I'm sorry to say. Maybe we've heard about it, but we've not really seen it in action. It is actually being, implemented right now as I speak. The National Agriculture Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket Program is being implemented through the Bank of Agriculture as I'm talking to you now. The farmers will get what they what is coming to them in terms of subsidized, inputs, and will have the opportunity of being able to sell their produce, and have it, feed our industrial framework ecosystem as of design, not, out of happenstance. There is a very deliberate intention to grow the agricultural sector of the Nigerian economy in a very progressive and structured manner, to ensure that we achieve food security, food and nutrition security, increased productivity, high level income boost for our practitioners, and indeed for those in the value chain of agriculture. Our global competitiveness is also receiving a lot of attention. Honorable Ajimobi will tell you, the Minister of Livestock in particular, his is an approach that is stating clearly that we have to adhere to all of the ISO, requirements in production. And we have to be strategic and systematic so that we take on areas of global, opportunities that we have comparative advantage in. We are not doing everything, and we're not playing to the gallery. We are selecting areas that we have competencies, and we are focusing on them, in the mains. The next one he talks about is where does Nigeria stand in Africa's agricultural landscape? What specific areas, is the country leading or lagging behind in? I just told you that this this very event and this activity is taking place at the highest level of global agricultural reckoning. And Nigeria was pinpointed and selected to host the agenda setting session for a reason. It has been recognized that the movements that Nigeria is making in the policy ecosystem across of Africa, there is nothing in comparison. And Nigeria is at the heart of Africa's development, whether you want to accept it or not. The country is so fundamentally important to Africa's evolution. You cannot joke with Nigeria. And so if with 220 million people and counting, we are now beginning to see a situation where the policy ecosystem of the country, as it relates to agriculture, is taking a profound, upward swing. That is what has prompted this recognition. And for you to know that we have a man at the helm who recognizes it is deliberate. It is not happenstance. It's not just patching along. This president knows what he's doing and how it is impacting on the world. When it came as an opportunity, he did not dodge it. He took it. This event is happening at the banquet hall of the presidential villa under the auspices of that the key challenge we have is an infrastructure one. Yes, I agree with you completely.
I think we lost Mr. Richard.
You lost me?
Oh.
Yes, he's back.
Okay.
Hello?
Someone's not here. Hello? Good morning. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think we lost you for a moment.
Okay. Okay, so I'm happy that I'm back. Please, where did you lose me at what point, so that I can go over it again? Okay, basically, I was just making the point from Eshet's intervention and trying to answer to his interrogatories that when it comes to infrastructure, it is a critical, challenging area around which we've got to find for which we have to find solution, around which we have to huddle as an entire nation, in order to address. So because it is at the core of the phenomenon, the abysmal phenomenon of post-harvest loss. Post-harvest loss for me is the worst thing that can happen to the producer, because in this case you have gone through, and please look at it from the prism of a smallholder farmer who is a businessman or woman in themselves. Okay, they have produced the food already, or they have produced, yes, the crop or the animal already. And now they are having to watch it periodically and systematically degenerate in front of them. There is nothing as terrible as that, you know. So the most important aspect of the interventions that we need to have is infrastructure intervention around agricultural production, because that's at the core of value add. That's at the core of extension of shelf life. If you don't have, for instance, power, you cannot process. You cannot process what you have produced. And so you're limited to the vagaries of the elements. What you have produced will deteriorate in front of you. Is it cassava? It is largely water. So the sooner you have processed it and put it in a semi-processed or actually, you know, end outcome product, the better for you. Is it even tomato? Is it pepper? Perishables of any sort. You need power to preserve. And it becomes necessary to look at, you know, intervention in that regard. What is it? Roads, interconnectedness in the rural areas, that is super important. Dangote would tell you the tomato plant, that the processing plant that he put up in Kadawa, in Kano, you know, basically failed on account of that. Before the farmers would bring their tomato from the hinterland to his gate, it had already become, the elements had already worked on it, and it had already become tomato puree in itself, you know, just that it would not be consumable at that point in time, because, you know, other factors would have you know, intervened negatively. So rural roads, power, water, the level of, you know, the requirement that you need around, you know, irrigation and post-harvest cleaning and all of that, that you need water there. So the rural basin development infrastructure that we have needs to be revamped, and so resources need to go in there. Not just that, you know, storage infrastructure, cleaning infrastructure, you know, will I say, haulage and transportation infrastructure. All of these come together, whether you talk of rail, whether you talk of roads, whether you talk of airports, you know, and evacuation corridors. You need infrastructure. The size of the infrastructural deficit, you know, that Nigeria has currently is profoundly staggering. You know, it's considered to be in excess of $200 billion that is required, and you know that we all know that we do not have, you know, that kind of those kind of resources. I mean, to just scratch it and really put us on the path, you know, to transformational growth in that space. We need about in excess of 200 billion US dollars to kickstart. In order to manage that, we are looking at dynamics that can be put in place to catalyze those resources, so that whatever government has would be a basis for, you know, attracting in more resources. And that is at the back of the strategy that we are adopting for this agenda setting session of the AAD. I've just been telling you that the Chinese have taken the bait, and they're coming full mass, en masse. You know, the Belt and Road Initiative that the government of China has been, you know, pushing around for a while. They've kept Nigeria out of that mix, but now they are critically, you know, insistent on, or they are particularly insistent on, you know, onboarding Nigeria. That's as a result of the movement that they have seen. My colleagues at the Secretariat of the AAD will tell you that they called in to say they want a place in the mix because they are ready to deal. They are ready to engage, and they have resources. They don't need resources. They want to put in resources. And these are commitments that they made, to us before we were able to onboard them into this framework. It shows a recognition of the fact that we are serious. The fundamentals of our economy from a macroeconomic standpoint have never been so good. I can tell you this for free. The growth rate that we're experiencing right now at the macroeconomic level, if you check, you are media operatives, go and check year on year, we are doing profoundly well because of the structural, handling of the economy of this country. The waste that is being pruned out and the repositioning of all of the nodes in order that they are able to deliver up, value for us across, all of the facets of the sector. The point being made is that we can catalyze more resources into the infrastructural ecosystem of the Nigerian agricultural space, on the basis of the handling of the economy, which, is already beginning to resonate with stakeholders outside of this country and across beyond the shores of the African continent. We will not rest on our oars. We will work assiduously from our standpoint, to ensure that, whatever opportunities that are put forward on the global stage as we engage will not just be retained, but will be nurtured, to expand in scope of its value. There is nothing you can do without ensuring that you have some form of de-risking, will I say, de-risking products in the space. We have worked with the insurance sector under the leadership of the National Agriculture Insurance Corporation, Corporation of Nigeria, NAIC. We have brought in private sector insurance entities into an insurance consortium dedicated to the agricultural sector. So in that consortium, you have Leadway, you have Rex Insurance, okay? You have POA, insurance brokers in that mix, which is meant to be like a brokerage entity that basically ensures that all of the players, including NAIC, are fit for purpose to cover, the realities that we have in the insurance ecosystem. Of course, layer that with the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for agricultural lending, and you would get a sense of how we have been able to lock up, the risking ecosystem for agriculture. That would work both for crop and livestock, subsectors of the agricultural economy. What opportunities can Nigeria derive from active participation? I've just mentioned it. The core of it is being able to put forward our reforms in a way that demonstrates to the rest of the world that Africa is not faffing around. We have a leader in that space, and that is Nigeria. And this is what Nigeria is doing is not, a fluke. It is strategic, core intended, and primed for value, across board. If we look at that and we begin to look ahead, I'll be telling you that the future is really bright for Nigeria's agricultural development. I've never been this excited, and you all know me that I've been in this space, for a while. I've never been this excited about the sector, because the fundamentals is like a doctor. When you know that your patient you've checked the patient and all of the fundamentals, the heart, the kidney, the liver, all of them are in good stead. Then you know that, okay, what I now need to do is manage this patient appropriately with the right regime of medicaments and also with the right regime of nutrition. I should be able to get this patient away from the critical stage, into a situation where he can go home and be with his family. It's that feeling that I have currently, colleagues, and I want you all to know that. I want you all to know that you can count on this, or you can also make the findings yourselves. But the fact of the matter is that Nigerian agriculture is ready to lead and is already leading on the global stage. Thank you very much for that, for your time. Are there any other questions? And did I answer your questions appropriately, Eshet? I think we're running against time. Honorable Ajimobi, if you also find the need to intervene, please, this is a good time for you to do so. Please feel free. I see a question from Clarion Olusegun.
Yes, Clarion asked a question.
Hello?
I said Clarion asked a question. So she said, who are the stakeholders AAD is expecting, and how does these stakeholders align with the objective of the event?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So critical stakeholders involved here. We want to start with the presidency. The office of the president, in this regard, the office of the chief of staff to the president, and of course the support of the senior special assistant to the president on livestock development, and the senior special assistant to the president on agriculture and productivity enhancement, coming down to the ministers of agriculture and the minister of state for agriculture and food security, the minister of livestock development, who are the ones that are headlining this, the minister of trade, also the ministers of water resources, minister of marine and blue economy, are all in that mix. You want to go beyond that to the stakeholders within the development ecosystem, the African Development Bank, the German GTZ, Solidaridad, International, HEIFA International, very critical, very committed, friend of the house. These are entities that in themselves have recognized, what is going on the continent of Africa, and the need that, the private sector have for an improved representative platform for their interests, particularly funding and financing interest, and other critical support, policy support interests that they require. So beyond those, we have government parastatals, and we're talking about the NALDA, National Agricultural Land Development Agency. We're talking about the Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation, NAIC. We're also talking about the National Root Crop Research Institute, UMUDIKE. Beyond that, also, we're looking at other agribusinesses that are involved with us. We can't mention. We cannot actually exhaustively mention them, but critical stakeholders in this sector have aligned themselves with us. Then across of the continent, on the continental stage, We have the ministries of agriculture of Botswana, of Senegal, of Togo, and we have been talking to the Egyptian Ministry of Agriculture as well. These all have fully embraced this because of the understanding of what value this poses in terms of the leadership that Nigeria is putting forward to ensure that the sector benefits from the kind of value that exists. It is necessary for me to state this, that you have resources. The resources are there. It's just the ideas and the kind of qualitative ecosystem that resources ordinarily would gravitate to that is missing, or had been missing. And so when I say to you that the sector is being structured properly, I know exactly what I'm saying, because I know the implication of undertaking a proper structuring of the sector. It just means that resources will come in sooner than later. And when they do, it will be like in the case of what my friend would talk about, where he says that it will be like drinking from a fire hose. Think about it. In that, just allow your mind to engage with what I've just said. Think about turning on a fire hose and wanting to drink from it. That's how the resources would gush in if you create the necessary setting. Structures are put in place in a way that ensures that we are able to see, folks can see the pathway to profit. They can see a pathway to return on their investment. They can see a level of seriousness and commitment on the part of government, to protect them, for purposes of their investments. In that light, once we get to that stage, it will be like ants coming to sugar. Absolutely. That's why I'm excited. So Clarion, I hope I have answered you. Eshet is asking for the presentation material. You will get it. Everyone will actually get it. But at this point in time, I think I have spoken long enough. I can give way now to Jemima, my colleague, to take us through the program document itself. Jemima, you want to go ahead, please? Hello, Jemima.
Let me get her. I think she's having issues with her network. Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted. I was just indicating that Jemima seems to have some connection
issues. Yeah, she's having issues with her network.
That's fine. Honorable Ajimobi, please go ahead, put in a few words so that it doesn't sound like African Development Bank is talking too much on behalf of the government of Nigeria. Is Honorable Ajimobi there?
Yes, he is.
Oh, sure. Good. So, I mean, a word or two from you, if you don't mind. Particularly around what the government is doing, the ecosystem, how your take on how things are being managed in the agricultural sector, and what that portends for Nigeria and Africa, even on the global stage, and the value that would bring to our investors from across the globe. Please go ahead. Honorable Ajimobi? Is it me? I seem to be creating problems for people's connections. Okay.
He's on the call.
Yeah, I see that.
He's muted.
Is Jemima here?
Not yet. And then I think she lost her connection totally because I've been trying to call.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Do we have another set of questions, or the colleagues want to run off?
Hi, Mr. Richard.
Okay, she's back.
Yeah, hello, Jemima. Good to hear your voice.
Okay, so I'm using Divine's system so that I could join. I would be joining momentarily so that I can share the program and take us through it. So if you could just give me a moment.
That's fine. In the meantime, I think that Vlajimobi is okay.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Good to hear you.
Sorry. Hi, sorry. The network was having some issues, so it was coming on and going off. Harry, yes. So I think you asked a question. Can you just repeat? If I heard you correctly, it was more around the question of what has the government been doing so far, and what opportunities are up and coming, what investment opportunities we're working on as well. Am I right, or can you repeat the question?
You're spot on.
Okay, I'm spot on. Okay, very well. Thank you so much. So thank you all so much. And Dr. Richard, thank you so much for your very fantastic presentation and everything you have said. Even when you were speaking, I don't know why anyone else wants to hear any of that opinion after everything you had stated. But with regards to what the government is doing in the agricultural space, I cannot really speak to the agricultural space as a whole. I can speak towards what my expertise are, which is the livestock sector. And I think with regards to the livestock sector, we have identified that the current state of the sector is one whereby it is, whether it be infrastructural challenges, lack of irrigation systems, lack of roads, lack of access to financing, post-harvest losses that are experienced, and then the conflict that arises between the herders and the farmers. So we have identified and understood that the challenges and the current state of our livestock sector isn't where we would like it to be, considering we have one of the largest livestock populations in Africa. So it's to see how we as the government can come in and improve the quality and the standard of what is on ground. And how do we intend to do that? One, we intend, as the minister and I had recently completed a visit to the cow grazing reserves. We have identified that we have 417 grazing reserves in the country. 417 reserves making up over 2 million hectares of land. Now that is enormous land, enormous opportunities for investors, for partners. We are going one by one to see how we can bring these reserves back to life, especially the ones that are still functional, because there are some of them that have been overrun by weeds that can no longer be revived. So how do we bring these grazing reserves to life? How do we revive them? Why do we want to revive the grazing reserves? Because we see it as a solution to our ongoing challenges. 2 million hectares of land, if properly developed, properly utilized, that means we are growing millions of hectares of grass. That means we have cattle that are monitored and managed and properly being bred, whether it is for beef processing or dairy processing. We get to have hands-on approach with that is our policy, is to have a hands-on approach as much as possible. Yes, the government shouldn't be in the business of doing business, but it's about creating an enabling environment for livestock businesses to thrive. A welcoming environment
that anyone, whether it is local partners or foreign partners or local or foreign farmers want to come into the sector, we want that to be, we want it to be welcoming. We want it for the ease of business to exist. We want the access to information to be readily available, So these are some of the things we're working on. We're working on improving, introducing policy and legislation that will also encourage businesses and investors that want to come into the sector, that would also help improve the current standards that we have, because the Saudi Arabian government have approached us and have approached us and shown interest in acquiring bovine red meat. They've asked for over 2 million tons. At the moment, none of our meat is of that standard. Now we are asking ourselves, okay, what can we do? And that is why Mr. President, in the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has sought out to go to Brazil. Brazil in the last 60 years have achieved a revolution in their livestock sector. They have been able to, from being in a similar situation to what we are, whereby the genetic quality of our breeds are not so strong and not so competitive in comparison with other breeds that are available in countries as close as Kenya, where they are getting, for example, the Nigerian dairy, if you're lucky, maybe you're getting 1 liter, 1.5 liters of milk per day, whereas in Kenya, they've been able to achieve up to 40 liters per day, and that is through genetic modification and genetic improvement. So we, through Mr. President, has said, okay, let's go. He's gone to Brazil. He signed agreements with the Brazilians that will help us, one, produce 700, they would help us establish 774 beef processing plants across the nation. Now, that is amazing. That will allow us to achieve the standard to export our beef to, whether it's in Brazil, Saudi Arabia, or wherever, or anywhere in West Africa. That opens that market of exports to us. So I think this all ties back to what we're trying to achieve with the Africa Agricultural Dialogue, which is to open up discussion, to open up dialogue, and see what opportunities the government is committed to doing what is necessary to position Nigeria as a regional leaders, key regional players in the livestock sector and in smart livestock systems. So it's to see how through this dialogue we can open the discussion and create opportunity for global competitiveness and position Nigeria as competitors in the livestock sector. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Honorable Ajimobi. Jemima, are you ready now? If you're not, we might have to skip it. You might have to send the documents to the colleagues subsequently.
Oh, yes, I am ready.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Colleagues, Jemima Seku is our lead on the AAD program from the Secretariat's standpoint. Just so you know, she's not breaking protocol. Jemima, go ahead.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know about
Okay,
yes,
good morning. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Jemima Sheku, and just as Mr. Richard said, I am also part of the AAD coordination team. So I'll just be taking us through the program. Over 2 days in October, we will be taking us through a very high-level convening. This program, starting on day 1, will be showcasing leadership and spotlighting innovation, building foundations for transformative partnership. On the first day, we're going to be having a lot of we'll be having presentations, as you can see. We'll be starting with an agenda setting session alignment. We are hoping that Dr. Abdul Kamara from AFDB would be there, and the Honorable Jerome, the Consul General of Denmark, will also be there.
Please.
We are going to be having keynote.
Just to note, Abdul Kamara is confirmed.
Okay, yeah, all the people that are on this list have actually been confirmed. So we are going to be having all these people live. So we'll be having keynote presentations from the ES of NALDA, that's National Agricultural Land Development Authority. His topic would be focusing on ground capital, changing livelihoods through agricultural land development. And we hope to break into plenary sessions where we would be focusing on business unusual. If you can see from the lineup, we have a lot of experts in this field. So this is a deliberate attempt for us to see that this event is not just talk and dialogues, but it's targeting a lot of commitment. We want to see that there's results. So we can tell you for free that this event, at the end of it, there's going to be a lot of results. So from this lineup, you can see we have people from we have Dr. Shemal Pereira, who is the group CEO and founder of AgriNexus International. He's coming all the way from Malaysia. And then for our panelists, we have Dr. Mel Oluch, who is the Director Strategic Partnership, Sasakawa, Africa, Nigeria, coming from Kenya. We have Mr. Mohammed Abu Ibrahim, who is the Executive Secretary of the National Agricultural Development Fund. We also have Dr. Lekon Tube from the Nigerian country. He's the Nigerian Country Director for Haifa International. And then lastly, we have Mr. Olubinka Awe, who is a former group head of Structured Trade and Commodities Finance, the Alternative Bank from Lagos. So you can see that this plenary session is going to be very, very heavy and is going to be targeting a lot of results. We also have breakout sessions. We'll be having breakout sessions. We have one of the breakout sessions who we are partnering with Haifa International. It's going to be focusing on optimizing investment in livestock/dairy farming. And we have Dr. Ayoade Akere, the CEO of Geo Farms and Equipment. He will be making a presentation at this breakout session. His presentation is meant to, set the tone for the facilitations and for the discussions and dialogues in this room. And this room would now be facilitated by Dr. Lekon Tobe and Alhaji Mohammed Yusuf. So these people are actually experts in this field. They know what this whole topic is all about. So we are very certain that they are going to give us very good results here. Our second breakout session will be focusing, or we are partnering with Solidaridad Network, and is focusing on optimizing investment in the group value chain. We have Mr. Kinechukwu, the program manager from Solidaridad, and Ms. Evelyn Wachuku to be facilitating this session. And then we also have another breakout session that will be targeting cold chain, catalyzing investments and market access. We are partnering with the government of Denmark. We have the Denmark government to making a presentation at this breakout room. Afterwards, we would move on to thematic lecture from Engineer Jerry Cunningham, which will be focusing on financing agriculture as the engine for economic growth in Africa. And then we'll move on to another plenary session. I know Mr. Richard has spoken extensively on agro-industrialization in Africa. So on that day, we have experts that are going to deep dive into it. We have Mr. Roland, who is the MD of Commodities Development Initiative. We have Mr. Olayinka from Boston Consulting Group. We have Olumide Ojo, the Strategy Director of UK Aid Propcom. We have Alhaji Sheriff Balogun and Ilyasu Ishak from Robust International Commodities, Cote d'Ivoire. On the second day, which is going to be high-level policy dialogue, here we'll be securing investments, commitments, and charting a continental course at the global AAD session. Here we hope to have we hope to have our ministers. We hope that we are going to have our ministers there. We're going to have the president himself there. So on this day, we're going to have a very, very, very high level dialogue. It's going to be focusing on integrating Africa into the global agricultural finance agenda. And we would have presentations from Rex Insurance. We would have presentation from Mr. Lee Zengchen, the chairman, Global Corporation Promotion Research Center. His presentation will be focusing on funding industrial projects at scale. I know Mr. Richard also spoke extensively about this partnership. And then we would be having a presidential keynote from the president himself, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then we'll be moving on to the plenary session that focuses on de-risking at scale, catalyzing agricultural finance. We'll have presentations from NAIC, the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation, and then we have a plenary session with different experts in the field. We have Chukwuma Kalu from Vedo Climate Limited. We have Mr. Boyega Lessi, who is the Leadway Assurance MD/CEO. We have Dr. Andrea Rediga, who is the project manager of Cluster Coordination for Transformation of Agri-Food System. And then we also have Mr. Ayodeji Oludare Sutirin, the MD of Bank of Agriculture, and Mrs. Jenny Onia from Newtex in Belgium. And then we also have Mr. Sridhar Satyamoorthy. He's the Vice President, Capital Risk Solutions, all the way from London. The whole event, we all know the event is the agenda setting session. So it's going to be targeting, crafting the road ahead for the World Food Prize. So at the end of the event, there will be a compact presentation for the road ahead to World Food Prize. As you can see, so as you can see from this event, you can see that it is it's bringing together policymakers, investors, entrepreneurs, and scientists all under one roof. We hope that at the end of the dialogue, there would be commitment that will be captured, and this compact document is going to be a roadmap that will travel with Africa to the Des Moines in October. I'm sure Mr. Richard already spoke about that. So as we prepare for this event, I want to just say, I want to invite all of us to be part of this journey, because I feel when we put our resources together, we can make this event not just a conference, but it's going to be a turning point for Africa agriculture's future. Thank you. I don't know if anybody has questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Richard.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jemima. I hope you're done. Anything else to say? You're the one in charge of all. You didn't talk about your cocktail. Or you don't want the media colleagues to be in the cocktail?
Oh, sorry. Okay, so so yes, we do have a cocktail. The cocktail is going to be the guest accreditation session as well. We hope to have it at Onomo Alio Hotel, where we will be meeting with our resource persons. We'll be meeting with policy makers there. So this it's going to be happening on the 6th of October. That's a day before the main event starts, starting from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. We would have guests come to pick their badges there and also network with everybody. So yeah, we're inviting the media people to be there. And we also hope to speak with our partners. So it's going to be a very great opportunity for you to meet with our partners, meet with policymakers, and when you have questions, you get to ask them physically. So yes, I'm inviting you guys, and I hope to see you people. Thank you.
Thanks, Jemima. And colleagues, we've just, Ajimobi will bear me out here. There is a movement on the part of stakeholders in the livestock sector to recognize the actions of Mr. President in setting up the livestock ministry. They are basically saying that the president has taken an unprecedented step to recognize them, their efforts, and then the positive energy that they can, positive economic energy that they can bring to bear on the Nigerian nation as a whole. And so they want to basically honor Mr. President. That would happen at Onomo Aleo Hotel, a fascinating place, in all honesty. It's so beautiful. It's at the Afro-Exim Towers. My first time of getting in there, I mean, I was really blown away by the stupendous, stupendous, would I say, luxury that is on display from a hospitality standpoint. I have attended Onomo Alio's, I've gone to Onomo Alio in Ivory Coast, of course, but the one they have in Nigeria bears, experiencing. And I invite all of us to be there. The folks that are going to be conferring the recognition on Mr. President, we will be having, a small event to basically midwife that activity at Onomo Alio. More information will come to us in the coming days, but most certainly our media colleagues, we want you to be around because it will be part of what you need to be able to project when you hear the stakeholders themselves tell you about what they think Mr. President has done for them. It's not what, I mean, it's good to be in the opposition. I'm not saying anything against the opposition people, but it's easy to criticize. Trust me when I say, for those who know, there is a whole lot going on, and it's in the positive. A good time for you guys to come, participate with us on the day. Then again, I want to underscore that the Ebelechukwu, is the MD of Rex Insurance. Jemima, you should have noted that. Also, we have a colleague who is coming out of DRC with a very interesting, technological advancement. It is basically facial recognition for animals. Let me put it that way. That's the technology. And she's going to be presenting on it, at this event. We will see how the transformation in the livestock sector is going to move like the speed of light. Because when you can recognize animals facially and you can track them, it is just bye-bye to all these stories that we are hearing. These are non-kinetic approaches that are going to just, as Honorable Ajimobi was saying, are going to just transform in a spectacular manner, the ecosystem. And the African Development Bank stands shoulder to shoulder, with the government of Nigeria as it begins to take this structural, positive, transformational steps, to bring more prosperity to its people, and particularly the stakeholders in it.
Sir?
Yes,
so
please.
somebody's asking that, is there a hybrid option to join this conference?
Forgive me. We should have said so. The event is hybrid, yes.
Okay.
There will be a viable, viral coverage, for the virtual audience. Everything that is happening in the room, inclusive of the breakout sessions, we're working with State House to ensure that this is projected to you. And typically, I want us to understand that the intention here is to ensure that we are able to follow through on all of what is arrived at, and all of the opportunities that, are thrown up both in country, on the continent, and on the global stage as we go into Des Moines, representing Africa. The leadership of Mr. President is profoundly fundamental to this, and we are glad to have a leader, a president, that recognizes the need for Nigeria to lead. This is something that had been missing in this country from a standpoint of leadership for a long time. And I think that is something to applaud him about. Having said that, colleagues, thank you for your time. Let's make this happen for God and for country, ensuring that we are the vanguard for advancing the good in Nigeria and working to create an ecosystem that basically, incentivizes government and private sector to do the right things in the agricultural sector so that Nigeria and indeed Africa will feed itself and its people and indeed feed the world. Thank you for your time. I look forward to the days coming in terms of our engagements and all. Please come to the program, expecting to undertake interviews. We will have, a press room that would basically be facilitated to ensure that everything you want to achieve, you can achieve from a media standpoint. Thank you very much. Eshet, over to you. I know you're having challenges. Maybe you can give Jojo the opportunity. Let's have a woman represent you. Jojo, a word or two from the colleagues might be necessary at this point. I will crave your indulgence to put on my camera. Might affect my the signal, but I don't mind. Just so that you see my facial expression as I'm receiving your last words. Go ahead, please. Maybe we can ask, let me see, there was a colleague who was very, okay, all of our colleagues who have not introduced themselves, this is an opportunity for you to do so, please. Then after that, we can ask Dayo Akindun Tire. I hope I didn't undermine the name. We can ask Dayo to say the last word since Jojo is not here and Eshet cannot. All right. Colleagues, you can introduce yourselves for those who did not.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, please.
So I want to say, can we get the emails of the media personnel who will be attending so we can plan for them and maybe also send them links?
That's fine. I mean, there's a coordinator here. We can, I think Jemima is already in touch with him. The way they function is, and I've been involved with that side of the divide. That's the way to go about it so that things are properly coordinated. We don't have to be doing, knee-jerk and off the cuff stuff. We want to be able to engage our colleagues in a coordinated manner. So there is a coordinator. We're in touch with him, and we will keep that structure in place. He then will reach out to his colleagues. So please, can we have you introduce yourselves, those who did not earlier on, and the media houses that you represent? Okay, let me call out the names. Obadan Lincoln. Just unmute yourself and introduce yourself as well. Obadan cannot? Okay. Let's have Okechukwu Nodim. Is it me? I can't hear anyone.
It's not you. I think they are not. I don't know. I also cannot see them.
Taiwo Ogunchuase, I think. Okay, Obadan says he will do so in a short while. That's fine. Just provided it's you guys keeping us here, no problem. We're ready to stay here with you. Aminu Bello. Will you be so kind to introduce yourself and the media house from which you are operating? If there's any message anywhere, please read it out so that we can stay in touch.
No message for now. We've read out all we have.
Okay, so if you cannot speak, put in a message in the put in a message for us, and we'll read it out for the benefit of everyone on the call. Okay, I think it's a bad idea then. let's just let them be. Thank you very much for your time. In the absence of any other business, I have a colleague here, Larry Shasore. Please go ahead and say hello to the house. At least let's have another voice other than myself and Ify. It's a bit strange that it's just Ify and I, and Honorable Idris.
Good afternoon. No problem. I apologize. I had a lot of trouble with the internet as well. I just got shut out. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining the press conference. We certainly look forward to seeing everyone during the dialogue next week. We look forward to sharing the outcomes of the dialogue as well in preparation for the World Food Prize. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Larry Shasore from Insight Out, one of our partners, backstopping this activity. Okay, so in the light of that, and in the absence of any other intervener, I want to thank you for your time. And Ifechukwu, please bring the curtain to a close. Draw the curtain on this. Thank you.
Okay, so for media personnel present, it is safe to say that we've all heard a lot about the AAD 2025 dialogue. And then from everything Mr. Richard has said, I mean, personally, I've had the opportunity to work very closely with Mr. Richard, and I can tell us for free that Mr. Richard is one of those few persons in the sector that are hungry for change. So if he says that AAD is not business as usual, then we should all sit back and watch all of this unfold and be sure that it's not going to be anything like business or the usuals you've always been hearing, and then no post-event impact and all of those. No, this is a different dialogue that is not just about conversations, it is about commitments and action. And as we all know, agriculture is the backbone of our economy. And then through partnerships, we are sure that it will also be the backbone of our prosperity. So let's all just sit back and then attend this event and watch everything roll out as regards results. And then we are also sure that AAD is going to serve as voice for Africa, because currently, like the SSA said, he said that there is a barrier, and that barrier is access to financing for Africa. So we are sure that by the end of this, that barrier, like there will be a close, like the barrier or the gap will be patched up. And then so we'll not have to struggle, or, we'll not have to have so much difficulty as regards access to finance. So our mission here is clear: unlock financing that reaches to farmers, innovators, and agribusinesses So we are sure AAD is going to be a different ballgame entirely. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and thank you, colleagues. Bye for now. Appreciate all of our people who connected through the social media handles and all. Very much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of the day. God bless.